Does anyone else feel like Tarkov has too many items? And when I say items, I mean pretty much everything, not just like weapons, attachments, and stuff like that. I mean the items that go in your junk case, med case, ammo case, pretty much the entire gambit that Tarkov has in the game currently. Tarkov has evolved so much over the years that the necessity for more items in the game became apparent rather quickly. But with that comes the potential for bloat. Going on to the wiki and just looking at the loot section, it's insane how many items are listed there. Now, to be fair, almost every single item in the game has a purpose or reason for being in here. Whether it's for a quest that needs to be found in raid, something used to upgrade the hideout, or an item that can be used for a strong barter at the vendors. As more items have come into Tarkov, older items have been given more purpose than they once previously had. Still, it's extremely daunting to look at the item list and see what has been added to the game in the last few years alone. To say Tarkov has a lot of items is kind of obvious, but to argue that there are maybe too many items, well, that's a different conversation. This idea of bloat has become only recently apparent. You don't really think about this kind of stuff normally, but let's reflect on the items you need for the hideout. If we look at this curated list that can be found on the wiki, shoutouts to whoever made this, there are all the items that you need for the hideout to get every module upgraded to its max level. Depending on if you have E or D or not, some of the values may be slightly different, but this list is awesome and even takes into account that consideration. But seriously, look at this list. It's insane how much stuff you need for the hideout alone, especially considering that we now must construct the gym. BSG added items specifically for that module, and then later gave those items like the sledgehammer more uses for crafts at certain stations. A lot of these items make sense in the world too. Tons of household items, electronics, tools, stuff of that nature that would have already existed in Tarkov before the EMP went off and our characters got stuck there. But I suppose my main issue is some of the newer items being added merely just to pad out achieving some of the later game upgrades. It isn't too unusual for BSG to add something to the game that is relatively powerful and then slowly over time make it more, honestly, obnoxious, tedious, and frustrating to achieve than any previous incarnation of it. The solar power is a solid example of this. Originally needing a couple aces, some LCDs, a few military cables and filters, and about 10,000 euros and you could have yourself your solar power. Over time, those values have gotten more and more ridiculous, now needing 25,000 euros, 10 of each of the military items, and 4 aces. Alongside a relatively new item in the grand scope of this topic, a far forward current converter. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what the hell this thing is. I've never seen one in-game ever, and only know that it's a barter from mechanic, but only after you've not only gotten to Lightkeeper, who is still useless in the game, but completing some of his questline. It's wild the lengths you must go through to find some of these items, just so your hideout can run a little bit more efficiently. And this is only one example. It shows how many new items have been added over the years that fill one very specific role, but also shows the degradation of access to these kinds of opportunities for the masses. Yes, Lightkeeper is for the super grinders mindset and really shouldn't be taken lightly, I get it, but like, come on. A whole ass item in the game for a singular purpose feels a little ridiculous, but alright BSG, hey, it's your game, I just play it. I guess this is as good of a place as any to talk about keys and their roles feeling less impactful over time as well. Unless they are keys that are needed for quests, which of course will always be important no matter what, the rest of the keys on offer feel kind of hollow and useless to an extent. A lot of the keys have loot hidden behind them, and some of these rooms are still very strong for getting loot. Whether it's ammo, weapons, treasure items, a lot of the resort keys, for example, are still awesome. Maybe not as lucrative as they once were many years ago, but still. In my quest to get a LEDX, I bought some of the keys where one might spawn, and the loot I was finding wasn't what I was looking for, but still very useful, and the money I was able to make even from just a few resort runs was rather surprising. That being said, however, it sucks that not all keys are made equal in Tarkov. There are some keys in this game, like for example West Wing 207, that are useless in the game. The door is always open, and there isn't even anything inside should you get curious to go and look what's in there. It sucks. I get it if the door was always unlocked and there wasn't a specific key for it, but to have a key, the key itself be rendered useless because the door is open, and then to have no loot inside that room, that sucks. This isn't the only example of this situation, sadly. Many rooms across all of Tarkov fall victim to having a key, but rendering it not important because either the room is always open or there isn't anything inside it. And that shouldn't be the case at all. If loot doesn't spawn once or twice because you get unlucky, fine. They can't always be jackpots, you know? But give me something at the very least. Make the keys worth something, and make it worth me going out of my way to unlock a room for potential goodies. This was kind of a side tangent, so I apologize, but I feel as though it still fits into the main topic of the conversation. There's too much stuff in the game. Again, weapons, armors, attachments, I'm not counting those. I mean loot and other items of the sort. Tarkov has only gotten bigger over the years, and it will continue to grow and have more added to the game. This is certainly not the end of having more items added that can be used for a variety of different purposes. We will continue to get more stuff added, and with those additions comes more potential bloat. There are 9 different categories for loot, and who knows if they'll add more in the future. All I hope for is that if more stuff does get injected into the game, that it has purpose with intent, and is not just some random item to railroad or halt a player's progression by making it obscenely difficult to obtain. Because let's be honest, those aren't items, they're roadblocks disguised as items. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. What do you think about the items currently in Tarkov? Do you think there's too many? Not enough? Does it matter at all? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more videos about the frivolous things in the game that may or may not improve in the future. I hope to see you in future ones.